r/AskReddit by Reddit. For those who have witnessed a wedding objection during the speak now or forever hold your peace portion, what happened? I was working at a wedding when I was younger. I was running the bar at the reception, which was very close to the hall the weddings were at. We were told that the reception would begin around 4 PM. It was already about 3ish, and I was packing fridges, the usual barman things, while one of the male guests was still sitting there drinking. I asked if he was not joining the reception, to which he replied something along the lines of "when I have the courage." He downs his drink and leaves. 10 minutes later he's back, looking extremely disappointed. Guy orders a drink, and less than 30 seconds later another guy who's dressed extremely well, turned out to be the groom, walks in, punches him in the back of the head, and leaves. This dude just picked his drink up and sipped it further. I eventually found out that this dude had downed his drink, walked into the reception stand, admitted to sleeping with the wife on her hen night, and again the night before the wedding. He was never invited to the wedding. He just felt the groom needed to know. So he found out where the wedding was, sweeted up and dropped the info mid-ceremony. The groom deserved to know his bride-to-be was cheating on him. But it seems unnecessarily dramatic to tell him at the wedding of all times. The best man at my stepsister's wedding did this. It happened at the rehearsal the night before. It was a very large wedding, and the rehearsal was bigger than a lot of weddings. The minister was going over the vows quickly while giving instruction on what to do. When he said something about objections, the best man interrupted, saying he had to put a stop to this. He was in love with the bride and was sure she felt the same way. My sister and everyone else was horrified. It caused plenty of chaos and confusion. As far as I know, after that neither the bride nor groom ever spoke to him again. To be fair, I didn't witness this, but it happened to my parents. My mom invited an ex she was still rather close with to her wedding, and he stood up and yelled, "I object." Little did everyone at the wedding know, my dad had gotten rather close with him and paid him to stand up and object just for the SHTS and giggles, and he bursts out laughing. My mom didn't find it as funny, and it really started their marriage off on the right foot. All fun and games until the bride responds by gasping, "Oh, insert ex's name, I never stopped loving you." It was a medieval themed wedding. The best man declared his love for the bride, challenged the groom to a fight for her love. They march outside, draw swords, and go at it. Apparently they choreographed 2 nights a week for like 6 months, but it honestly looked like they were trying to kill each other. The groom wins and everything goes on like normal, weird but cool. When I was 13 we went to my second cousin's wedding. Everything is going great. They even got past the speak now or forever hold your peace part. They wrote their own vows, but before my second cousin's fiancée/wife could even begin her vows, his son got up and announced to the entire room that she was cheating on his dad with her drug dealer and he couldn't let his dad marry her. My second cousin yelled at his son to either sit down or leave. The son left. My second cousin married her anyways, and 5 years and 1 baby later he finds out it was true and they separated, but what a tweaked out to be able to afford a divorce. Finally he got married a 3rd time, but before he could get married his 3rd now ex-wife had to pay for their divorce. This wedding had no objections. They moved to Missouri, and this time instead of separating or asking for a divorce he decided he didn't want to be married anymore and just moved back to Cali to get back together with his 2nd ex-wife. Yep, family dinners are a little awkward. Groom's dad interrupted the wedding to ask the bride's father whether or not she was truly a virgin. Then he went on about how he didn't know anything of the wedding and blah blah blah. Truly weird and embarrassing. I was there with an ex-boyfriend. Edit, he is my ex-boyfriend. When the groom's father interrupted the wedding, the bride's father, officiating the wedding, did in fact say it was confirmed. I have no clue how or what. They seemed to be super conservative and wore sleeve dresses, long hair, etc. and were Afro-American. They eventually showed the father-in-law out and continued with the ceremony, which was super awkward afterwards. It was literally as if I was on Pranked. Said ex seemed to find the ordeal entertaining because she was humiliated. This was his family, bride, and that sort of sealed the deal. Something was wrong with the guy. We broke up a week later. My boyfriend was friends with a guy who was getting a quickie marriage and needed witnesses. We agreed and went inside the little reception room where the preacher, bride, and the groom were lined up, waiting on us. The preacher started his thing and I noticed a woman come in and lean against the back wall. She looked annoyed, standing with her arms crossed. Preacher, is there anyone here today who objects to the union of blank and blank? Please, speak now. The couple looked back at us, and we both smiled. Suddenly, the bride's attention turned to the woman in the back of the room. Bride, what the F is she doing here? The woman quickly raises her hand, looking at the old preacher. Woman, I object. I don't agree with this marriage. The bride glares at her. Bride, shut up. B. Wait your ducking turn. It's my scheduled day. You're just mad you didn't think of it first. The woman had to be dragged out of the room, kicking and screaming and spitting at the bride. After the reception, my BF's friend explained that he was originally in a relationship with the bride. After 10 years together, he started sleeping with her sister, the woman. They were close sisters until both ladies got pregnant by him simultaneously. They fought each other like cats and dogs for the next several years until the two cousins became school-aged and best friends. Neither one of the sisters would give up the man, and he wasn't sure which one he loved more, so he kept seeing both women. Last I heard they were all still together, but the two sisters had teamed up to take down his pregnant mistress. Not at a wedding, but at a funeral. A young man, mid-20s, had passed away rather suddenly in some sort of accident. His wife of a year or so, and their respective families and friends are all in attendance as they are getting ready to lower him into the ground. The pastor dude asks if anyone would like to say anything further, and another woman in her early 30s stood up. She began to tell everyone in attendance about how much pain she was in over the loss of the love of her life, and that the two of them were meant/going to be together and now they can't. Yup, the poor wife had to find out about the cheating at the funeral. Wow, that woman sounds absolutely heinous. Like the dead guys that he had to, but to do that at his funeral, to his family. Ooh, I have one of these. My friend, groom, was getting married to this awful girl we all hated. They broke up during the rehearsal dinner after arguing about the order the groomsmen would stand in. She wanted her brother higher in the order. Wedding still happened the next day, even though they were broken up. We all show up to the church not knowing if the bride would show or what the duck would happen. She shows up. Pastor asks for the objections and her mom objects. Yells something about how the groom is a piece of poo and isn't welcome in her family. Mom leaves the church. Dad and brother leave after her. Bride is just standing there staring at the groom with a real smug look on her face and says, "Told you you should have put my brother second in line instead of fifth." Pastor doesn't know what to do, but just kinda keeps on trucking, and eventually they are married. Drank a ton at the reception. We all did. Also they are divorced now. Didn't even make it a whole year. My wife dragged me to a wedding that I did not want to be at years ago, but I'm forever grateful that she did, because I was able to witness one of the greatest spectacles of human drama that has ever taken place. This was like an episode of Jerry Springer mixed with Cops. Bride's lover spoke up at that moment and yelled, "I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna keep my mouth shut and let you steal my woman, you sorry piece of poo." This deranged old redneck proceeds to come at the groom with a pistol, threatening to shoot him if he doesn't give her up. It wasn't a huge wedding, maybe 40 or so people, but every single one of them went screaming and running, and maybe 2 people stayed and called the cops. I grabbed my wife's hand and we retreated outside to watch the rest of the scene unfold from the church window. So, what happened? Was Pistol Redneck arrested? Did the bride visit him in jail? He was arrested for unlicensed weapon and assault, because at one point he'd put the gun back in its holster and just started shoving the groom. The bride was a total B about the whole thing. Cared more about the fact that a special day was ruined than the bat poo spectacle that she caused. I think brandishing the weapon or threatening to use it is usually assault all by itself. Having to listen to that Duck Dynasty looking MF squeal over and over again, "That's my woman," was assault on our ducking ears. The groom himself. He just stood up there and started crying and, in front of everyone, told the bride that he'd fallen out of love with her a while before, but he didn't know how to break it off. It was extremely uncomfortable. They both stepped out and 10 minutes later came back out and got married because she'd apparently told him she was pregnant. They're still together with 3 kids, and I'm not sure about the husband, but I can confirm that the wife is having an affair. Neither of them are happy, but she has a comfortable life and he doesn't have the spine to leave. This is really depressing. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.